Aloha. Got a minute? My Bible is open to the book of Daniel, chapter 6. And I would have to just say that, look, last time we shared together, I suggested to you that in the heartbeat of chapter 5, of Daniel chapter 5, two of the saddest words you're going to find in all of Daniel. I would suggest here today, in the heartbeat of Daniel chapter 6, are perhaps the two gladdest words that you're going to find. So listen, we're going to take a look at them in just a second. Let me just remind you of the story of Daniel chapter 6. Look, this is probably the most beloved, best known story of all the stories that you have in Daniel. And Daniel has some of the best stories in all of Scripture. Because this is a story of Daniel in the lion's den. Who doesn't love this story? I mean, everybody knows this story. But I'm going to just, in 30 seconds, I'm going to just retell you the story just real quick. So King Darius is now the king. Belshazzar, boom, he's out. King of the Medes and the Persians. And in a short length of time, he becomes quite fond of Daniel. Just the character of Daniel shines. And Darius as a king becomes quite attached to Daniel, this relationship that they have. Well, some of the governors and some of the satraps look and notice this and say, look, they're not too happy about this. I mean, a foreigner having this kind of a relationship with the king. So in a very sneaky, conniving way, they come in and suggest to the king, hey, listen, king, for 30 days, what do you say? What do you think of this idea? Listen, why don't you just make a decree, a law, that for the next 30 days, that nobody in your kingdom can bow down to worship anybody else but you. It's not complicated, but the emphasis is on you. And it's like, the king is, well, I mean, after all, I'm the king. This sounds like a pretty good idea. So he signs it. Big mistake. Well, it wasn't too long before these governors and satraps were back and they say, hey, king, your boy Daniel, guess what we've been watching and observing? He's not worshiping you. No, every single day at his home, throws open the shutters wide, bows down, and worships his God. What are you going to do about it, O king? By the way, live forever. And the king realizes, you know what? A law is a law, a decree is a decree. And so the word goes out, arrest Daniel. But remember, the king is fond of Daniel. He's sick to his stomach, but he can't change it. So he's there at the pit, the lion's den. Daniel is just about ready to be dropped in, and the king says, oh, Daniel, I believe that your God is going to take care of you and protect you. Down Daniel goes. Daniel's in the pit. The king goes back to the palace. Then we come to early next morning. King hasn't been able to sleep, hasn't been able to eat, hasn't been any music in the palace, sick to his stomach. Gets up early, puts on a kingly robe, makes his way down to the lion's pit, calls out, oh, Daniel, did you make it through the night? So here's now look, this is a very familiar verse of scripture, but maybe you've missed these two words. I'm going to read the verse, come back to the two words. Here it is, Daniel chapter 6, verse 21. Then Daniel said to the king, O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the lion's mouth. Look, I can remember as a kid, Sabbath school, this would be a memory verse. I mean, this was a verse that us little kids in Sabbath school at church, we memorize this little verse of scripture, and it's a great one. O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and has shut the lion's mouth. The two gladdest words right here. Did you catch them? My God sent, here are the two words, his angel. His angel. Listen, my friends, do you know what angel we're talking about here? We're talking about the same pre-incarnate Christ that was walking around in the fiery furnace with those three Hebrew boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Jesus himself was in the fire. Jesus himself is in the lion's pit with Daniel all night long. Just as the three Hebrew boys in the fiery furnace were not left alone, Daniel is not left alone. Because you see, Jesus is the king of the jungle. Revelation refers to him as the Lion of the tribe of Judah. The king of the jungle, Jesus himself, is in the pit with Daniel, taming those little other lions there to make sure that Daniel is safe and sound through the night. Wow. Hey, can I ask you a question? That night, who had more peace? The king in the palace or Daniel in the pit? Who had more peace? The palace or the pit? Who had, well, we know that the king had no peace. He didn't sleep at all, didn't eat at all. There was no music at all. The king is in the palace with no peace. Daniel is in the lion's pit with peace. What made the difference? The lion from the tribe of Judah was there. The pre-incarnate Jesus was there. He was there himself to provide and protect Daniel in the pit. So listen, my friends, my question today is, what are the lions that you're dealing with? What are those lions? It could be financial lions, could be physical lions, could be relational lions that you're dealing with in your life right now. But you see, here's what you need to remember. Here's what I need to recall every single day, that Jesus stands there next to us and brings courage, strength, peace, just like Daniel. Don't you just love this story? I just love this story, because here's the simple reminder for your heart and for mine here once again today. Jesus is still in the lion taming business today. Jesus is the Lion of the tribe of Judah. He is the king of the jungle. He is still in the lion taming business today. He did it for Daniel, and he promises to do it for you and for me today. What a God. Allah.